So Apple announced the release of lossless audio for the new AirPod Max with USB-C. But what does this update mean for music production from an audio engineer perspective? So depending on if this update is actually worth it or not, especially for music production, let's talk about it. Let me know in the comments, what is your favorite pair of audio headphones? And if you do comment, you get a chance to enter a giveaway where I'm giving away the mini PC from Creator Devices, which is a really great computer for music production. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that like and notification bell if you want more content like this. What's poppin', gang? I'm 30 Killer Beats, and if you're new here, I'm a music producer, audio engineer, artist, all sorts of things dealing with music. And I always wanted to get the AirPod Max for music production, but never could really pull the trigger on it. But now, due to the fact that they do have a USB-C option and they have this update as well, I've been able to just figure out, you know what, let me just pull the trigger on it and just see how the whole experience is. At least for 2025, is this thing still worth it? My biggest reason on getting these headphones was the fact that, first of all, your boy been in the gym, you know what I'm saying? I've been getting right, you feel me? And I wanted better headphones that gave me similar quality to something like my studio headphones. But the AirPod Max definitely helped with the sound quality aspect of that, but just give me a moment, we'll jump into the sound quality in a bit. However, I've actually been using the AirPod Max USB-C version for a little while now, and I think there's a lot to say about these headphones that a lot of people may misunderstand, and now with this new update, more to the story than you actually think. And because of this update, really motivated me to really want to make this video because they made some pretty crazy claims. Apple themselves on their website saying that this will be the only way to mix in spatial audio. I'm going to show you what that process actually looks like. But before I do that, let's talk about the actual sound quality. Personally, I'm used to having like very expensive headphones like Dynamics 1990 Pro, which sounds extremely great. Dynamics do have a Mark II version. I currently have Mark I. However, the AirPod Max do come with a 40-inch driver, which my Dynamics come with the 45-inch driver. These headphones, like I said, are the USB-C version. The cable that it comes with unlocks 24-bit, 46 hertz lossless audio. Now, personally, you know, I would prefer at least 96, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you guys already know about this, but 96 sounds almost like perfect. A new feature as well that you can now do with the new update with Mac 15.4 is that you can now use USB-C to 3.5-inch headphones with the new AirPod Maxes. Now, personally, I've been wanting to do this option for a very long time, even though I have other headphones that I can use that cost more than these AirPod Maxes. But at the end of the day, you know, when I'm out and about, I want to be able to reference the mix on something that I'm going to be using. So this is going to be able to give me that option where I could do that. So here's a quick showing like how this thing works. So I have the cable from Apple, the USB-C to 3.5 headphone adapter, which you just quickly just plug into your headphones. And I'm just going to plug mine into a headphone amp, which I personally recommend if you want the highest quality audio possible. So the one I have is from Rupert Neve. It's a really great headphone amp, and it makes things sound like it's coming out of a studio console. So trying out these headphones with the lossless audio, honestly, they sound a whole lot better than I actually thought they would. They actually sound like $500 headphones, especially when you plug in SonarWorks and use their audio frequency correction tool, and you can get a profile tailored to these headphones, which they will actually sound flat. It actually makes these headphones a lot more usable for music production. I definitely would say I noticed an increase in dynamic range as far as the whole overall quality of the headphones. I felt like I can hear a lot more lows and not necessarily more highs, but definitely more detail in the highs. Now, with me being an audio engineer, you know, I could definitely tell you that using my mixing headphones, I could definitely tell you that the low end compared to my mixing headphones definitely sound completely different. The kicks on the AirPod Max definitely kick a lot harder than on my mixing headphones, but on my mixing headphones, I could definitely tell a lot of more of the rumble information and what's really rumbling, you know. But so that's something that you could take into consideration, you know, if you're mixing and mastering for other clients. You know, if you want to find some headphones that just hit in the kick area really hard in a good way, these headphones would be those options. options where you could use that for mixing and mastering. And also, like, these headphones can get really loud, much louder than, you know, using the Bluetooth feature. You know, I can get these up in higher quality, especially with using my headphone amplifier. Now, with using the audio jack with the AirPod Max, it opens doors to a new experience where these almost sound like open and closed back headphones, like where you could basically use the noise cancellation feature while using these headphones like regular headphones, and that gives you the opportunity to just block out the noise around you, which is super great, which you don't get from other headphones. So if you're an artist and you're recording with these headphones, you got that opportunity to just remove yourself from the world, which I might actually use these headphones for, you know, using these for my artists when they're recording vocals, just to eliminate them from the background. But that's my experience with using the USB-C and audio jack adapter. Now, there are some negatives as well with using this cable. When you're using this cable, you actually don't get a lot of these spatial audio features, which you would think you would get with using this cable, but you only actually get that with the USB-C to USB-C cable. So the cable that comes with your AirPod Maxes, they do work with spatial audio. However, I personally haven't had an opportunity to get spatial audio working within any programs, even with Logic Pro. Maybe I'm not sure of how to actually turn it on. If someone's in the comments and you know how to actually use the spatial audio feature in Logic Pro, let me know. You know, I tried it myself. I couldn't figure out how to actually utilize it other than, you know, using Adobe Atmos. When they say mix and spatial audio, I personally haven't been able to figure out how to actually do that. So I'm not sure what Apple's referring to. You could definitely hear the spatial audio only when you're using the USB-C cable, but not the audio jack. So, you know, don't think you're going to use the audio jack and get spatial audio. But also, don't think you're going to be able to use super cheap cables with your AirPod Maxes. I have a USB-C to headphone adapter, and these actually did not work in my AirPod Maxes, which I was pretty shocked. I was like, okay, what? They must have something inside this cable. And if you actually look at the cable that they just started selling for the AirPod Maxes so you can utilize lossless audio, this cable is actually much thicker than like something that's much cheaper. So there must be some type of chip inside. However, when you do plug in the cable from Apple, it actually recognizes that this is going to be an audio connection. So it'll actually automatically connect to whatever you're plugging it into. So it'll also disconnect from any Bluetooth sources that you got to connect it to automatically. Now, will I be using this in my recording sessions? Honestly, I might. Because of the cord capabilities, I might actually use this just for recording vocals. These are closed back headphones, but they might bleed. That's something that I have to actually test out. And I could probably use noise cancellation while I'm recording vocals so I could just, you know, hear nothing but myself. So that'll be super great. So let me know in the comments if you're gonna be picking up these headphones for music production because of this update now. Let me know what other videos you wanna see on this channel. Make sure you add me on Instagram, TikTok, and X. And YouTube says this video right here is the one you need to be watching. I don't know why, but you gotta click this video because the algorithm is algorithm for you for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Click this video right here. And appreciate you for coming through.